Hey guys, Chris from Propel here, and we're here in Darmstadt, Germany, checking out the 2020 Riese Müller bikes. And today we're here with Martin Hess, who is the product manager at Riese Müller. Martin, why don't you just tell me a little bit about what you do at Riese Müller, what your background is, and...
I like to.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chris. So, I'm almost 10 years now working for Riese Müller. And coming from retail business, working 20 years in a workshop as a head mechanic and vice manager of the shop.
Yeah.
So, and now I'm responsible since 6 years already for the technical specifications as a product manager.
Excellent, excellent. And there's a lot of new technical specifications for this year, right?
Yeah, this year Bosch gave us some homework.
Yeah.
Because the new Generation 4 engine, it made necessary to complete reconstruction, redesign the frame. So it's all new. Not much is the same than as the previous one.
This hasn't been like a common practice for them because generally they try to make it backwards compatible. And how is that?
I think after quite a long while.
Right.
So the Generation 2 engine was almost 6 years on the market almost.
Yeah.
And so the development is going on.
Yeah.
And they need to make a big step.
They didn't have any other choice but to do it.
They were overtaken. They needed to catch up.
Right. Right.
So and that means that some of the design features that made Riese Müller frames unique in the previous years, we need to change or we need to redesign because the current design did not accept the Generation 4 motor at all. So this is the new Supercharger, and it's easy to see. The biggest difference is Bosch has went back to standard chainring sizes.
Yeah.
And so one of the design features we used, the elevated chainstays, wasn't an option anymore because it would have been needed to rise it that high.
Yeah.
So that would have compromised the structure. So that made it complementary to have a split rear end to run a belt drive.
Yeah.
But we wanted to keep it as original charger, so the vision need to be kept. So this special kink in the seat stays is one of the most visible charger attributes.
Yes.
So that needed to be kept, and even though it doesn't have elevated chain stays anymore, it's still recognizable from the first side. That
still looks like
charger.
A supercharger.
Yeah.
You could tell very quickly.
That was the goal.
Yeah.
So, but it wasn't that easy. On the other hand side, the new motor gave the opportunity to integrate it into the frame far better than the previous one. So it needs way cleaner. It's not an add-on, it's an integral part of the structure. And to do it even further, we tried to integrate the cable routing into the frame nicer. So this is not the most integrated thing. We can have a look later on at the cockpit solution, and everything is run through the head tube all along the down tube directly to the motor. So that's very clean, and a mechanic in the workshop has easy access to the cables.
Yeah.
He just needs to get out, take the battery out. There's a cable channel where all the cables are routed parallel down to the motor. So it's very clean, easy access, and it's helpful for the mechanics in the main season.
Yeah,
their time
That's important.
Their time is precious, and they don't burn money, customers' money for unneeded workshop hours.
Right. No, absolutely.
So on the other hand side, we have a redesigned cargo rack, which is now accepts a higher load, 27 kilos, which is roughly 60 pounds.
60 pounds, yeah.
And
this was a big topic that came up because the previous racks were not as easy to accommodate a child seat as well, right? Because generally a child seat can accommodate up to 45 pounds, but then you have the weight of the child seat as well. So Now
So
having that larger capacity.
Child seat was definitely in our mind, and
Yeah.
we have new attachment profiles supplied by MIC, so
Yeah.
the MIC system, which is now a MIC HD heavy duty profile, and this accepts a snap-in holder for child seat.
Yeah,
So that's a premiere.
sure.
And with the new Eurobike in early September coming, I think 2 or even 3 child seat companies will show the first child seats that accept
Working with the MIK
the
system.
MIC HD profile. It's easy, snap in, so easy to handle, safe,
Yeah.
and it's a big advantage. That wasn't possible before, not only because our current design, this very profile did not exist last year.
This is the new standard,
This
basically.
is the new standard, and every following product except full suspension bikes will have this feature in future.
Right. Great. And you kind of made things simpler as far as the options and modularity of things as well, right? Like I see you have this new front carrier, which is now an option on all the chargers and superchargers, where
we
previously just on the GX roll-off, right?
So we changed this. So until last year or this season, we're still in 19.
Yeah.
There was different bikes. It was a Charger GX, it was a Charger GT, and then the different shifting systems. And now we changed this to options. So you can have a Charger with a GT as a GT version as a standard bike, but you can have on the configurator, you can choose the GX option or the GH, which is for the more heavy people, accepts a total gross weight of 160 kilos. The standard versions allow 140 kilos.
Right, which for the States or whatever, it's 353 for the GH and 308 total capacity.
In pounds, yeah.
Yeah.
So almost every bike is available in a standard GT or in a GX version.
Right.
And the Charger, Supercharger, Nevo, and that's it in the end.
So even if you wanted to get previously like Enviolo, if you wanted the Enviolo Vario version, you wouldn't have a GX option for that bike, but now you can get a GX option as the mountain version. For us, historically, more commonly, people want the GT specifically, so it makes it a little easier for us as a shop, quite frankly. Out here, there's more forest trails and that sort of thing, so the GX is actually relatively popular out here, which is interesting. Even on the cargo bikes, it's pretty popular. But in the States, you know, we will always take the GX version and put the GT tires on it. So it's kind of a relief.
So sometimes it's the other way around.
Yeah.
But one advantage is in former years, GH version was only available with Enviolo.
Yeah.
And now you can get it with either with roll-off or with derailleur shifting, because the derailleur shifting has a boost rear hub with a through axle, which is really stiff.
Yeah, it's plenty to accommodate a heavier rider, for sure. And mainly the options when you go with GH is different bars, stem.
Yeah, so we don't
have
we don't have that many changes anymore. So we upgraded the specs for the standard bars. So the standard bar configuration that we have here is already capable for 160 kilos.
Ah, okay.
So in the end, it's mainly the seat, so the saddle, and the pedals.
Oh, okay.
So it's not much stuff anymore.
This was an interesting topic relating to the pedals, actually, because this kind of comes up sometimes, the pedals which are spec'd on the bike, but these are technically the only pedals which are certified for...
There's not much to source from.
Yeah.
So if you have a standard saddle with 7mm thick rails, there's not a handful of saddles on the market that are capable, that accept 140 kilos, means 300-pound rider.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the same with the pedals. So if you have sealed bearing pedals, the spindle needs to be thinner. So in the end, a cheaper pedal is
maybe stronger.
Maybe stronger. Yeah. So except you have a hardcore flat pedal with pins that size
Yeah.
that wouldn't suit an urban use.
Right, right.
So
Yeah. But it's really interesting how these certifications and stuff
so
come
sometimes
into play.
it's not easy to source the right parts for every application.
Right.
So I was surprised myself how hard it is sometimes to get what you need.
Yeah, absolutely. So some other little details, I see that we did away with the covers. We're going with more of the standard battery setup.
So we have changed the battery covers. Now they are connected to the battery itself. They are not anymore connected to the frame.
Yeah.
So no chance or no risk anymore to tear it off or
Right.
to lose it once you have it on the carrier or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's easy to have, and it's even a better handle for the battery itself.
Yeah.
When you pull it out, you have a good grip.
And I heard that basically you also have some dummy version or
Yes,
something
yes.
like that for transporting it.
So
or-
the standard procedure as Bosch communicates it is, if you transport the bike on a roof or a rear rack, take the batteries out.
Right.
In my understanding, it's not needed with a power tube battery because everything is covered in the frame.
Yeah.
But they still don't communicate anything different. So for that reason, if somebody is not sure what he should do, take the battery out. We have dummy covers that
Cover the frame.
cover the
Well,
frame and are fixed by the normal standard locking system. So the frame is covered and the contacts are covered too. So in the batteries you take into the car.
Yeah.
So that's it.
That's great. And then some other details I noticed is M99 on
Yeah. So on the top
Supercharger.
versions, M99 Supernova front light
Yeah.
with high beam and low beam is standard equipment for all full suspension bikes except the standard Culture.
The Culture, right. All right, so this is another Supercharger in another color. Previously you saw the Curry matte, which that Curry kind of came from the older Supercharger.
Yeah, so the very first one.
That bike was always really popular, so it's cool to see that color back. I'm excited about. I like color. Now this is another color. Now what's the color? on
So
this?
it's a more. Honestly, I don't know every name of the color by heart.
There's a lot of grays.
It's a very distinctive looking urban style.
Yeah.
So this is actually the car, the Charger GT, which is the base version or the standard version.
Right.
So, but it shows almost all the features of the GX except the knobby tires.
Right.
As you already mentioned, the front carrier is always a possible option.
Yeah.
And so we have standard wide street tires, so that already familiar, massive looking Supercharger.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're a huge fan of the GT tires. And that's basically, we've more or less discontinued anything other than GT in the US, although they still carry that in some other places. But I mean, I just think it makes sense to have that wider tire, more stability, a little more comfort.
Definitely. It gives you a little motorcycle-like feeling.
Right.
And this one is available too in every shifting option we offer.
Yeah.
Means derailleur shifting, roll-off, and Violo.
Perfect. And I noticed also a little bit more comfort on the bars. Traditionally, the Touring, we had a little bit more forward, flat bar with, and from my experience, most of our customers want that little bit more upright position. So we appreciate that change.
We heard a few complaints about the a little bit too sporty position. And so we said, okay, if we get it a little more relaxed, we don't hurt anybody.
So you still got good control over the bike, because that's important, right? When you're a little too forward or too upright, you can lose some of the control of the bike in a sporty bike like this.
So we always try to suit as many customers as possible. You can't satisfy everybody, that's impossible.
Yeah.
But let's say we try to make the best possible suggestion of parts.
Yeah. And then I also noticed MT5 brakes in the front here, so quad piston.
Yeah, so we upgraded the brakes of the Chargers and the Delites, so almost on a wide range of bikes.
Yeah.
Because so it's not about that the former brakes haven't been powerful enough.
Yeah.
On the other hand side, we needed to upgrade it a little bit, so because people ride more, so we try to get down the wear of the pads. We try to get all the material, all the stuff longer lasting, and we try to improve the heat resistance of the brakes. So in the end, we decided to power up a little bit the front brake while not overpowering
Always
it.
appreciate that, yeah.
A 200 millimeter disc in the front might not be the right thing for everyone.
Yeah.
So, but on the other hand side, we try to improve it.
So we're running, is it 203 or 180?
No, it's 180 front and rear. So we
piston?
stayed with the current diameters. Only on the mountain bike version of the Delite, we decided to go to 203 front and rear.
Okay.
So the most massive brakes possible at the moment.
Right.
But in ordinary use and city bike use, I think it's perhaps a little bit too much.
Sure.
And the tendency of brake rub is higher the bigger the discs get.
Makes sense, totally.
But if anybody wants to, he can upgrade it. Yeah.
One other thing I call out, I mean, so the previous version of the Supercharger, just one, and the Charger, just one water bottle, but now we got two. I mean, this has the carrier on the front, which is an option, but now we have water bottles on both sides, and I guess that's part of having the cables integrated.
Exactly.
We're able to accommodate that now.
We have more room now, so no cable can hook up at a bottle or somewhere, so now we have the possibility to have bottles on both sides.
I think a lot of people appreciate that. I mean, people are always a big fan of that on the Delite, so it's nice that it's kind of carrying over to more of the lineup.
Yeah, sometimes it's small changes that make life easier, and I think that's one of those.
Yeah, and then so you have the two water bottles here, but you also have bolts.
We have bolts for almost everything.
You can put locks, a pump,
a fit
whatever.
lock attachment for whatever you can attach. So the bikes come with the border lock assembled under the top tube.
Yeah.
But if you'd like to have it on the down tube, you're free to do that.
Yeah.
So it's up to you.
Great. Really cool. And one other thing I'd just like to mention while we're talking about it, previously there was a slight variance between what we called the high torque and high speed, but now the high speed effectively has the same amount of torque as this, right?
Yeah, so in the previous generation 2 high-speed motor was a little complicated to reach the cutoff range of 28 miles.
Yeah.
And now it has the same torque as the CX, which is 75 Newton meters, and now at about just below 20 miles, it gets an extra 10% of torque. And it really pulls until 28 miles.
And you really feel it. That thing goes. So
that's a big advantage for the fast bikes. Yeah. Definitely.
And sometimes some of the systems, like the NVOLO hub, which is not as efficient, now maybe it becomes more viable on more of the high-speed bikes, which is nice.
It compensates a lot of the, let's say, a little phlegma of the NVOLO hub.
Right. Like that. Cool. All right, let's check out some more bikes. I'm really digging it.
Yeah.
All right, so like the Supercharger, I imagine if some people are already familiar with the lineup, they can look at this bike and say, I know what that is.
Yeah, so that's the new Delite. So,
all right.
We got the Delite again closer to the Charger family.
Yeah.
So last year there was quite a difference because the new Charger already featured dual battery integrated, and the Delite didn't. Now the Delite shares the same features as Charger and Supercharger, means integrated battery. So it looks pretty close, at least the front section does.
Yeah, and single battery on this Delite, that's an interesting concept, and I quite like it because the lines here are like really clean, really simple, and this rear carrier is different on here as well. So that's pretty exciting. And I know that the presentation which happened earlier, it just seemed that this version of the Delite might actually widen the audience for the Delite as this like urban commuter, something a little bit lighter weight, less like, you know, a truck, and you know, more like a sporty.
Yeah, it looks a little more elegant and distinctive, and especially this minimalistic rack, which isn't a complete rack, so it's a office back attachment or something like this. So it's limited to about 10, 11 pounds each side, which is enough for your laptop and some little stuff. So, but it really looks clean, and it looks, as I said, a little more light, not as heavy as the dual battery version, which is real massive.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of the versions that we actually stock in the shop, because when we started with you guys, the Delite GT Vario HS was like the most popular bike for us. And now this is the new 2020 Delite GT Vario HS, but a slightly different take on it. Now I know we have like the roll-off version and these different things, but with the high-speed motor, with this higher torque now, it really becomes a different bike, and it's quite cool.
The complete attitude has changed.
Yeah, I could just see, you know, riding around the city. This is an amazing bike to do that. And then the suspension's a little different on these as well. The suspension options and that sort of thing. So you get the GT. You can get it as a GX version, right?
GX. This is a GT version. Again, available with every shifting system that we offer, but in opposite to the last season, the GX option now features not only the knobby tires and maybe some fancy accessory, but also an increased travel.
Right.
So the GX version features 140 millimeters travel front and rear. You have a standard Suntour suspension and a Fox option.
Right.
And the GX option also includes a dropper post.
That's pretty exciting. And the interesting thing with the dropper post, I don't know if you have much experience with this, but I mean, I have a dropper post on my cargo bike just for riding around the city, and that's something I've been thinking about, that it might actually spec some GX version and even put the GT tires on it, just to have that dropper post, have a little bit more travel on the suspension. But one thing that we were talking previously with some of the other product guys, and they were talking about how with the 140 mil travel, it will also bring the standover height up a little bit.
It definitely gets higher.
Yeah, but the new standover height is much lower than previous versions, which we were always concerned whether this was going to be possible to put a power tube on the Delite and still have a relatively low standover. And I guess part of that's having the new motor. That's helping to
So
accommodate.
the whole construction made it possible that the standover height is almost 1 inch lower than it used to be.
Wow. So previously, I think in the US, I think it was 31.5 inches, so 30.5 inches, which somebody like myself, I have a 30-inch inseam, so with shoes, I'm like 31.5 or something like that. So that's at the point where it's comfortable. For shorter riders, it can be a bit challenging, but it's definitely possible, and that's great. And you always have the option of the Homage if you want something a little lower.
Yes. Or if you don't need a full suspension bike, a Charger, or maybe even a Charger mixed.
Charger mixed, yeah. So speaking of the Homage, why don't we go check that out? There's a little update for that.
A little updates or a few refinements,
So here's the Homage, and so we still have the deep sea blue, but this is like more color.
Yeah. So
I love color. This
really cool.
cool.
We have simply increased the color variety by 100%. No, just kidding. I think this red is a brilliant color.
It really is.
The Homage really shines in this color, So for the start, we had a very, let's say, doesn't hurt anybody color with a deep sea blue.
Most people, if you don't see it in the light, it can almost look black.
Yeah,
and,
it looks blackish.
Yeah.
So, and but for this year we decided, okay, we need something a little more fancy.
Right.
And so, and this electric red is just perfect.
It is really beautiful. And some people might be surprised that you didn't put the new motor on all these bikes and everything else, but this bike was just new for 2019.
Yeah, so it was just new for 2019, and it's a Riese Müller politics that we don't change our model range every year or every second year. So normally, if we're not forced by some circumstances, we try to keep the lifespan of the models as long as possible or as long as it makes sense.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's still an awesome bike, and there's certainly great improvements to some of the other lineup, but I think this model, for us, it happened to be one of our most popular bikes for 2019.
It's a real unisex model. It's not only for female, it's almost the same number of male.
Right, that's been my experience as well. Probably actually more men buying it than women, which is interesting.
Because it's really comfortable, it's easy to handle. You have a quite low step-through area.
Yeah.
So you have a low gravity center. So
So just to clarify, little details similar to the full range, as we mentioned, just to reiterate that, GX would be an option on these models on the full range of that, which is cool. It's just good to have that modularity. The suspension on this frame will be the same because it's not necessarily built for the 140 mil travel.
There is no travel change compared to the GX option, no. Combined with the GX option.
Right.
It stays with 100 millimeters of travel front and rear, which is sufficient, I think.
Absolutely.
And but it's capable doing some
so a little off-road
gravel,
stuff,
some off-road stuff. No mountain biking, but that's actually what a little off-road touring.
Yeah, great. So now we have another version of the Delite that we're going to check out, right?
Yeah.
I'm super excited about this one. So we saw the Delite, and this is called the Superdelite.
Yeah, that's Superdelite GX.
All right.
So, it's what we call an adventure bike. So 3-4 years ago already, we started calling these kind of bikes SUV.
Yes.
Sports Utility Vehicle. And now everybody does.
Yeah. This is true. Yeah.
So this is only the next step. So that means Superdelite GX. This is a touring version with standard derailleur shifting, but again, this is available with all the shifting systems we offer. And especially in this color, tundra gray.
Yeah.
So it's a little, like Land Rover.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Some kind of that. So, and this is what we try to achieve with that bike. A real go everywhere bike.
Yeah.
So it's capable doing your daily business downtown, and in the weekends, if you want to have an overnighter or something like this, just go anywhere. With 1,000 watt hours, you have a range of 80 to 100 miles, depending on the terrain. And depending on your fitness, of course.
Right.
And you have two bottle holders. You have the front rack option. You have a real capable rear rack.
Right.
Yeah. So if you don't get anywhere, the bike wasn't the reason. So.
No. It's definitely capable. And so basically, you have the standard Delite, which now is standard with a single battery, and then if you want dual battery, you go with the Superdelite, which has the dual integrated power tube.
Yes.
And so this is basically has the GX option, because this configuration is effectively available in the GT version as well, which if you opt for the GX, you get the mountain tires, the dropper seat post, So we could just drop that guy down like that. And more travel. But this also has the Fox suspension on it as well, which is a little even more travel. So it's really, I mean, super, I think, is a great way to describe it.
So we have 140 millimeters travel front and rear.
Yeah.
Suntour standard chassis, Fox option.
Right.
And I think, as I already said, it's a go anywhere bike.
Yeah. And so something that we didn't see so much on the other bikes, but it featured on this one, which is very unique as well, is the new Bosch smartphone hub, which is new for 2020 as well.
So it used to be the Kobe.
Right.
Then Kobe was purchased by Bosch, and now this is a complete new development, and now they call it Bosch Smartphone Hub.
Right.
So this is a standalone solution, so you don't need necessarily your smartphone connected to the hub. You have a rudimentary standard little screen that shows you the basic informations, even with your smartphone in your pocket. But this is a complete factory option. You can't
previously the Kobe was this retrofit thing, and
so
even you can't retrofit this onto other bikes as well, which is a little challenging for us as a dealer, and I think customers might want that, but maybe they'll figure it out eventually.
At least for season 2020, it's a solo OE solution.
Yeah.
And maybe that will change next year, but we don't know.
Sure. But I think that major upgrade to the Kobe system of having the ability to use it without a phone is super nice. And you know, it just depends on what you want to go with. The Kobe does have more functionality when you use your phone with it.
Navigation.
The kiosk is a little bit of a different system, smaller, a little bit more integrated. But you know, it's up to you depending on what your needs are.
So and another new thing is in the Riese Müller range, if you choose for the smartphone hub or for the kiosks, you always the option always contains the so-called cockpit.
Right.
So this is a handlebar stem combination. The stem is angle adjustable, and as I said, if you opt for the smartphone or for the kiosks option, it always comes with that adjustable cockpit solution, which even integrates the cables more than any standard stem.
And for this year, this is with the Delite and the Superdelite.
Delite, Superdelite,
not
Charger.
the Delite Mountain.
No, not Delite Mountain.
Right.
Delite Mountain needs a way shorter stem, so it doesn't make sense.
Right. So it has the integrated cockpit, but does it also have the adjustable stem?
Yeah, it's angle adjustable.
It will be
so
angle adjustable.
You need to lose 2 screws, and then it's angle adjustable in a range of about 25 to 30 degrees.
Yeah. And I mean, this thing is really beefy too. You know, generally speaking, you have an adjustable stem, and they kind of get like wonky after a while. But you guys actually kind of custom developed this.
This is custom developed
for you guys
in collaboration with our parts supplier and the headset supplier. So the system is tested for mountain bike use plus 10%.
Yeah.
So even higher testing standard.
Which that's the highest standard there is, effectively, right? That's great. I mean, that's one thing I really appreciate, the testing and the consideration of these parts and making sure they meet the safety standards.
Yeah,
that's
everything,
really important.
Everything that is not from scratch, from the shelf.
Right.
So, and the bikes get more and more individual, and there is not many parts left that you can just pick from the shelves of the suppliers.
Yeah.
So we have so many new parts in our product range that are our own developments, and if you need to go safe.
Yeah.
So every single bit and piece needs to be tested to the highest possible standards, otherwise you might get in trouble.
Yeah, totally makes sense. So this is the Superdelite, and we have a couple other Delites which are kind of new for this year, and then maybe we can get into checking out some of the cargo bikes and stuff like that. So This color is super cool. This like chili matte, I think it's called,
Yeah.
or something like that. Really like this one. So this is the Delite Mountain, right?
So-
but it's a little different this year, right?
Yeah, and it's not only a little different. I think it's the first time Riese Müller has developed a real capable
Right.
e-mountain bike. So this is I would say all mountain.
Yeah.
Not a hardcore enduro or something.
Right.
But it's a real capable off-road bike.
Yes.
With 150 millimeters travel in the front.
Yeah.
Fox forks, 36 millimeter thick stanchions.
Yeah.
140 millimeter travel in the rear. Semi-wide plus tires, 2.7 inches.
Yeah.
And and a real honest mountain bike. So
Yeah. And it still has some of the features if you wanted to ride it to the trail. You got lights on it. You have these different accommodations and the same sort of comfort and stability that people are used to with the
maybe we
Riese
have a
Müller.
little different meaning because if you carry around a heavy 3-point-something kilo or almost 7-pound battery,
Yeah.
why not having a
Right.
good lightning system on the bike? So, because hey, in California it gets dark early.
It sure can.
So, and so on the other hand side, okay, it may add up 200 grams on the complete bike, but honestly,
Yeah.
We don't
it's not,
care.
It's not about that. Yeah, I think
it's a
we're-
real off-road machine.
Yeah, we're really excited about that. I mean, I think people are going to really appreciate that for sure.
And for getting it a little more recognized, we choose a screaming color.
Yeah, there you go. And then I guess there's also the Superdelite Mountain.
Yeah, same features, but
Right.
double integrated battery.
Got it.
No differences, no further differences.
Yeah.
So,
And then it's also
can choose
possible
what you
either
want.
touring or roll off
Yeah.
on the mountain
Yeah.
version.
and you get real nasty, nasty pedals. So
Yeah.
that's one of the things most companies don't offer any pedals at
Yeah,
all
right.
with
They
their
don't even
bikes.
come with pedals.
And we try to give you a good standard pedal you can
Right.
get around with, and only if you need a very special stuff or a clipless system, you need to choose your whatever you want. But
Right.
in our opinion, a bike needs to come with a good quality standard pedal.
Yeah, I mean, even one of the things, talking about stuff that it comes with, coming with a suspension pump is definitely something that's not so common, but you guys generally spec it on other bikes with suspension. And
If there's
really
air
appreciate it.
suspension, you need
Yeah.
a pump.
Yeah, and you
Full
know,
stop.
people don't really think about that, but it's important. So. Cool. Well, really appreciate the overview on all the standard models, and I think we'll check out the cargo bikes.
Yeah.
So, new load. I mean, this is like, has everything here. It's pretty amazing. And, you know, you didn't just upgrade with the new motor, but you also added roll-off and a belt and like new box options and everything like that. But like, tell me about this.
Yeah, so at first, except some options, the front end hasn't changed.
Yeah.
So everything from here to the back is new.
Right.
So the main frame or the midsection, of course, because of the Generation 4 engine, needed to be changed,
Yeah.
even if it looks quite familiar. And so it was 100% clear that for the new load, we need to have a roll-off.
Yeah.
And if we offer roll-off, it needs to have belt drive.
Absolutely.
So, and so we have a new swing arm with slider dropouts
Yeah.
to adjust the belt tension.
Right.
But since it's a full suspension bike, there was no need to have a split swing arm or split frame,
Yeah.
because we need to route it over the over the chainstay and have a
Right.
spring tangent
Yeah.
belt tensioner.
Yeah.
Because
Which we can see it here on the Load
we
75.
need that because if the swing arm moves, the belt tension is changing.
Right.
So we need something to compensate this anyway. So, and therefore, there was no need to have a split rear frame. So here we have everything. We have derailleur shifting standard. We have new winchi. We have roll-off combined with the belt drive. So it's clean. It's
Yeah.
almost I would say hassle-free, almost no maintenance. Maybe sometimes just brush it off if it gets too dirty.
Yeah.
No use for any solvents or lubrication or something.
This is just like true car replacement. I mean, like, but all sorts of changes here. I mean, M99 again on here, like.
All Delite will have M99.
Yeah.
All Delite will have brake light, no matter if it's fast or slow versions.
Yeah.
So
on all the loads, yeah.
Yeah. Excuse me, all the loads. So it's a safety feature.
Yeah.
And of course, it's a pricey bike. So and then it should have.
You might as well have the best.
Every safety feature available on the market, at least as long as it makes sense.
Yeah. Wow. So, and basically all the same options available as well on the Load 75 with that longer front carrier there. Some new colors. The blue is going away in replacement of this
will
new
have
color.
the red,
and which I really like it.
And of course, there's a white, because we always need a white.
Yeah. And then the black, we're going with this gray, and there's another gray as well.
So the Terra gray will be on the short version,
on the 60. So, I mean, I really appreciate it. I know you've been talking to everybody for several days here, and I really appreciate you taking the time with us because it's very insightful, and it's great to speak to somebody like yourself that's been with the Riese Müller. I mean, you've been with them. There was 40 employees when you guys came on board, and now there's 450.
So
that's pretty amazing.
We have quite a long way.
Yeah.
We have gone a long way.
Yeah. You must be proud. I mean, it's just.
Sometimes I still scratch my head a little bit because
How is this happening?
Nobody could expect that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not 5 years ago. Not talking about 10 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody could expect that.
You guys obviously have the vision and the product behind that, and the team more so too.
Yeah, I think it's really about the team because all of us are hooked on bikes.
Right.
So even though I don't look that like that anymore, so
I would say that. Yeah.
I'm a little higher in age.
Yeah.
But so we that's what we do.
There's a passion and a love.
I'm in the bicycle business for 30 years now, and there's nothing else or nothing different I could imagine doing.
Right.
So I still love it.
Martin, thanks again. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And looking forward to connecting some more on these things. And thanks again for your time.
Yeah.
All right.
My pleasure. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. All right, so some of the things you guys might have noticed is there's a lot of these like new accessories and changes going on with some of the cargo bikes, some of the other bikes as well. And I wanted to introduce you to the man that's really responsible for this a lot. And so this is Johannes Häuser, and he's head of product design. And you just came to Riese Müller pretty recently, and I think your background's kind of interesting. And like maybe you can just introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I did basically strollers for quite a couple of years.
Yeah.
And what we basically want to do now here at Riese Müller is to kind of implement all the benefits we already know from strollers and children car seats in terms of functionality and usability and safety to bring it into our cargo bikes.
Yeah, and I could tell this sort of design, it's a very different sort of ergonomics to the design and the concept and the modularity of it. It does seem like it comes more from that inspiration, and I like that. So, well, excited to have you because I mean, for us, a lot of the cargo bikes are really centered around kids. So the idea that you have that experience and background and to be able to expand on what's already going on here is amazing. So maybe you could tell us about the Load because certainly there's a lot of changes here.
Yeah, so what we have here is our child seat, our new child seat, which is like one unit which fits into the Load and into the Packster 60 and 80.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's one unit which you basically just click into it and that's it, and you click it out.
Yeah.
And it has two positions, one more cozy kind of sleeping position and an upright position, which you You also could adjust the height of the backrest very easily, stepless,
Yeah.
which is also a very nice feature. And it comes with these very nice and cozy harness system.
Right.
Yeah, and we think it's a big step forward.
And we also have the footwell now in the Load 60,
Exactly.
which was previously just available on the Load 75, which is also really great for the ergonomics for the kids. Have and potentially taller kids as well, which is has previously been a concern, but I think that this new accommodation is going to be really helpful.
Yes, exactly.
And then this lockable lid is quite interesting and something that I'm particularly excited about. So
Yeah, that was also quite a challenge for us because we obviously wanted to have the seats in while you can lock it. So
yeah, and this concept, I think you guys had mentioned something like, what we've experienced, a lot of times it might be, you drop the kids off at school and then you want to go shopping and you want to like leave stuff inside of here or whatever the case may be. And to have that option, have the built-in lock on there, and still be relatively lightweight, but also fit with this modular design. Really, really quite smart.
Thank you.
Yeah, very excited about that. I can also see many commercial applications for something like this because you can opt for this without the seats if you wanted to and just have that extra capacity.
Exactly, and as I said, you can very easily take out the seat and you have the whole capacity of the box.
Yeah.
And it's clean, you don't have the webbings hanging there anymore.
Right. All right, so that's awesome on the Load. Let's check out some of the other cargo bikes. It seems like some new designs going on there as well.
Yes.
So here's some new improvements to the multi-charger. This is super exciting. I know previously we had the multi-charger, 2019, which we're still in now. This is effectively a 2020 update. But these bars, I think, is something that was often requested, as well as some of the padding and different setups. But do you want to talk to us a little bit about this new design for the rear setup?
Yeah. So we have basically the safety bar and the cushion with a backrest. And then for protection, to prevent the feet coming through into the wheel, we have these wheel guards and a side loader left and right. So it's all modular, you can combine it. And it also is, you can combine it with our existing bags, which we have for the multi-charger.
All right. And there's some additional functionality to those footrests as well, huh?
Exactly, yeah. We have a little extra feature here, so you could extend the side loader on the sides and put into it a child wheel.
Right, so I think up to a 20-inch wheel, you can put a kid's bike wheel in there and trail them along. So, maybe you ride with your kid to school or whatever the case may be, you get there, or you want to ride back and just they're tired and they just don't want to ride, put their wheel in there, pop the kid on here, and you're good to go.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty cool. And then I guess there's also some ability that you can put the child seat and then you can use this pad in conjunction with the child. So this is like kind of a mini version of this pad in some ways.
Exactly. So if you put a child seat on it in the back, for example, you can take the backrest and put it in the front as a cushion for a second child. Which
right. Yeah, I think a lot of people will appreciate that ability to carry two kids, carry them safely, have the bars around there. That's quite nice. So that's really exciting. And then behind us, we got the Paxter 40. Got a little update here with the child cover, right?
Yes.
So
it's a child cover, which allows to open it in the front and still get a lot of additional sun protection and you still have a lot of protection from the sides against the wind. So it's basically a roof.
Yeah, that's really great because I guess previously with the Paxter 40 we had the seat but not this additional cover. So I think that's a really nice upgrade. Well, Johannes, I really appreciate you, showing us through all this stuff, and excited to be, seeing more of the interesting designs that you help implement. Yeah, thanks again for your time.
Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks, Johannes.